bonjour.
Thank you very much for welcoming me at this wonderful forum this morning. I've been getting ready to take the floor for several months now. I'm very pleased to be here indeed. I hope this is mutual. As said, I'm going to talk about envelopes. We bill over 2 billion, we make over 2 billion envelopes a year in Pocheco. And when I turned up, I discovered a situation where the company was collapsing. There was a lot of sexual harassment, moral harassment. There were barrels containing toxic chemicals which were buried in the courtyard. There were very strange financial transactions taking place, and people said, well, making envelopes destroys the forest. So that's not very engaging to become CEO under the circumstances. So I wondered, can we change all this? What about just picking up a blank piece of paper? Everything is collapsing all around. Can we change things? And with my 125 colleagues over the last 20 years, we have looked, found, and changed everything. We started, first of all, by looking at the forest. Having work in the North Pas-de-Calais region where I come from is quite exceptional. Having a job is great with 12.8% unemployment. It's not because it's difficult to find a job that you have to accept just any old thing and say to yourself that to get a job you have to massacre the environment. Of course, we have only one planet, so what can we do to better manage it? We looked hard and we found a forest where every time a tree is cut down, 4 are replanted, respecting the biodiversity of species. And the replanting of trees over the last 20 years enables us to say that by making envelopes, we have replanted over 2 million trees in Finland over the last 20 years. So this makes it possible to preserve the flora, the fauna, the wetlands. But I'm talking about Finland. We're in the north of France. So how can we change all our habits in France so that this envelope never pollutes? At Pocheco, we've been zero waste for over 20 years. Zero waste, that means that our waste becomes a resource because, in fact, we analyze the life cycle. That is a very precise technique. And we look for raw materials which are not toxic. Inks, for example, which in 1999 were full of solvents. We looked for special inks to print our envelopes. In the past, we had to wear gloves and a mask. We had to have an anti-explosive area in the factory. We worked with colleagues, and we found inks based on natural pigments with no heavy metals, so we could totally get rid of our gloves and our masks, and of course the special anti-explosive area. You have to consider that the money you earn in a company is a way of conducting an activity. It's not an end to itself. We never distribute dividends. We haven't distributed dividends for the past 40 years at Pocheco, and our wages range from 1 to 4. 1 is the minimum wage, and the top wage is 4 times more. Under the circumstances, therefore, you can use the money earned by the company, and this has been true for the past 20 years, you can use it to reinvest. And what do we do? First of all, systematically, we reduce what is dangerous or unpleasant in people's jobs in the plant. We lower the impact of our activity on the environment. That's very important. We have to constantly say that we've lowered the impact of our business on the environment, and we, of course, boost productivity. If you listen to scientists for example, on the IPPC, who after the report say that mining resources, fossil resources, sea resources are running out, and they add that we have to leave 80% of the existing resources where they are, because otherwise If they are used, we will accelerate climate change, global warming, and we will go beyond the 2-degree threshold. So as an entrepreneur and together with my colleagues as a citizen, our responsibility, which is your responsibility too, has been directly engaged. How can we act on a daily basis, given the IPCC report? Because what they're saying is that things will collapse otherwise. But it's not necessarily what will take place. We can create a business plan by changing. We can rework things. We can put together a new business plan. Let's be very clear about things today. I've never met anyone who said to me when I was a child, I dreamt of making envelopes. That was not the dream of people I've met so far. There may be some exceptions in the room, of course, and if so, I'd love to meet you. So, to have a project, to build a project together which does not destroy the planet, can one have an enterprise without destroying things? That's the underlying idea. So when you reinvest constantly the profits in the enterprise, you end up building up funds. We kept the funds. The plant dates from 1848. It's in the North Pas-de-Calais. If you don't know the area, I'd like to rid you of a misconception. People talk about the climate in the north. It only rains twice a year in the North Pas-de-Calais, once for 3 months and the next time for 6 months. Whenever it rains on this very old roof with lots of holes in it, we know exactly where to put the buckets in order to gather the rainwater. One day we decided to renovate the roofing, and we brought an architect round who made a proposal, a conventional proposal, 800,000 euros. He was going to redo the waterproofing and the insulation of the roof. That would enable us to economize 40,000 in heating fuel, and thanks to the savings, we'd be able to pay for the new roof. Over 20 years, this would pay off the roof. But we work in a company that produces things, that makes things, and we wanted our roof to actually produce something. We were more ambitious, therefore. So we looked, and we found, together with the Bailleul Botanical Gardens manager, we found plants that we could put on the roof. And the plants, contrary to inert materials, benefit from wind, sun, heat, cold, rain, snow. This plant roof also captures the dust, and it uses the rainwater. It's really worthwhile because that doesn't flow into the drains. So the roof collects the water. Then we added solar panels. Even in our region, this enables us to produce 20% of the electricity which we use in the plant. And this reduces pressure on the nuclear power plant, which produces electricity in the region. It's thanks to this system that one can recharge electric vehicles. In the 21st century, one should use an electric vehicle. We can recharge the cars thanks to the solar panels, and this further reduces pressure on the environment. Now let's go back to the roof. It rains, and in the summer, 70% of the water collected is there's evapotranspiration. It goes back into the atmosphere, and while picking up the micropollutants. This depollutes the atmosphere. This also creates electricity, and as we have changed, I was talking to you about inks. We use inks based on natural pigments. We use 30% of rainwater is kept in tanks, and in these tanks, we use the rainwater, we mix it with Marseille soap, and we clean our tools, which are dirty but not toxic. We clean them with the rainwater and the Marseille soap, and we use the water We put it into a special water settling area, which we created at the entrance to the plant. It's a sort of a pond. With bamboo, the roots activate bacteria, which break down the dirt in the water, and the only biomass which is created by this processing is the bamboo stem, which grows. Bamboo is like grass. It works. It's a sort of a natural water treatment plant, and the bamboo works throughout the year, and after 4 years it becomes less effective. So the bamboo is cut. It's cut up, dried, and we use it for heating. So the water falls on the roof. The water is used by the plants on the roof, and then the water goes down into the storage tank, which we use it to clean our tools. It goes then into the natural water processing pond, and the water